All right. Okay. Looks like everything's up. I want to make sure I'm not making the same mistake that I made last night. I tried to schedule it on YouTube so that it would just run everything automatically, but when I disconnected, I saw that it said start stream and it wasn't live. So, sorry to my YouTube friends who were sitting waiting. I did post the start of this, so the live stream from yesterday. I did post it uh, on YouTube under the live stream replays, but you only got to see me live if you were on Twitch, apparently. So, what can you do? Be more careful next time, I guess. Um, gonna keep working on this fella. He's a meerkat, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pull up that reference I was using. I think he's down here. Nope, I'm wrong. Oh no, he is down here. Uh, Here he is. Great. All right. Gonna keep painting. Let's go ahead and add a background color. Make things a little more interesting. Uh, Background color is mm, probably somewhere around there. Mm, I'll go for the mid. It's gonna be warmer, brighter. Somewhere around there. All right. Next thing I want to do is change the color. And we'll do something like that. New layer on top. And I'll just go ahead and get this rock placed in here. There we go. Let's see. Let's grab the brighter, warmer notes. What does that look like? Too bright. It's gonna be how about that? Oh, I did the wrong thing. Maybe more brown. Too brown. Somewhere around there. Hi, Luciana. Thanks for being here. Does the stream look okay? I'm getting this warning that says it's lagging. Hopefully it's fine. uh, that's actually a leaf brush. I'll show you. I wish I had the patience to paint all of them individually, but if you go inside of Clip Studio, there's oh, wrong thing. Here it is. There's this brush called Leaves, and you just go blah, 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 and then you tap, and it kind of randomizes the shape. I mean, you still have to put it in. You still have to kind of place it around and make it make sense. But I can't I can't take full credit for it. But yeah, yeah, it's definitely cool. I think it's a default brush that comes with Clip Studio. In fact, most of the brushes that I like to use in when I'm painting in Clip Studio are Clip Studio brushes, just native to the program, like the oil paint brush that I'm using on his face and here on the rock. I will end up going over the um, the leaves that I want to bring more attention to. And what I'll do with the other ones is I will use like a Gaussian blur. Like, for example, if I turn off the top layer, right? These are already kind of in a cooler color because that they're supposed to be further back. And so if I come to filter and blur, Gaussian blur, I can fade out that background. It might take a minute. It should be doing something more than it's doing. My computer says it's too hard, so it's it's taking a moment to apply the blur. I have a loading right there. And there you can see it's like sliding across. And what this essentially does is it helps bring more attention to the foreground. It also gives us a sense of depth. So when I put these over it, it's not the best. I think I overdid it. So let's go back, undo, and let's do Gaussian blur, and we'll do it at like 56. I want it to feel blurred, but I don't want it to feel so distractingly blurred that everything on top of it just feels disconnected. That might be a little bit better. Yeah. So the stuff in the foreground here stands out a lot more easily. And so I'll probably even use a little bit of blur on this. I'll do maybe like a 25. I think that's okay. So this way, the because you want your eye to be drawn to him, and so he's definitely coming across sharper and clearer than anything else in the image right now, and I want it to stay that way. All right, back to our friend. I'll get rid of the pencil lines, and we'll just focus on him. So this is the layer that's got the fur on it. Let's grab this shadowy one. I'll put the pencil lines back on so I can see the form. It's doing a save. I should probably do that myself. Alright, and now we're going to grab the light color here, brighten it just a little bit. Tips on what brushes to use while painting. Oh, it does have a learning curve, and it kind of depends on what you're painting on. Do you have a monitor that you draw on, or is it a tablet? Um, is it a iPad? Like, what kind of a thing is it? Is it just mouse and screen? iPad, okay. Do you have the Apple Pencil, or are you using your finger? Okay, cool. Um, the Apple Pencil is going to give you pretty pretty close to real uh, movement and flow with your different brushes that you use. Um, if you're just starting out, let me think. If you have the ability and the funds, I would get a pack of brushes from um, an artist who's taken the time to put them together. Really well known one is Max Ulichny. He has a website called Max Packs. Um, and they are very realistic style brushes. So if that's the kind of thing you're going for, if you want to do digital painting and have it look, like an oil painting or have it look like a watercolor painting, he's got different packs for different styles. I would recommend going with, um, I personally like his gouache pack the best. His retro pack is also pretty good. I wouldn't dive in to his watercolor pack or his oil pack without doing some more play around and getting comfortable with it, because the oil brush pack is very memory intensive and it will cause your iPad to slow down and overheat. Um, so you want to make sure that you know what you're doing with digital painting first, so you know when to back down. Um, and the watercolor is just kind of tricky and temperamental. Um, so he's got instructions with that particular pack that kind of give tips and how to use it. Um, but yeah, my favorite of his is the gouache pack. If you don't have the funds to do that, Procreate does come with a fair amount of brushes that are very well suited to the program, and you can even make your own. There's a lot of tutorials online that can show you how to make brushes. The trick with it is that your brush isn't going to look like a natural brush that you make on your own unless you take the time to apply your own textures and stuff. So like taking photographs of like either actual media, like drawings of oh, okay. What brushes am I using right now? Um, Primarily on this one, I'm using uh it's called an oil paint brush. This is one that comes default with Clip Studio Paint. Um, what I like about it, if I I'll just drag this up so I can show you. And I'll blow it up. So magnified like that, it kind of lags a bit, but here we go. This is a better look. So this looks and feels like an actual brush with paint on it. That's why I like it so much. And if you take different colors, I'll pick a really different color here. If you take a different color and you blend out or blend into it, you can see that the colors mix together. So it starts off dark, and then as you extend it, it gets brighter. Like there's an effect that it has. Yeah, this is an oil paint brush. Um, what's in the pastel? The other one I like in here for sketching purposes, if I'm not using like a pencil, I like to use the charcoal. It's got a nice grainy texture to it, and if you start thicker, you can get your basic lines and things down. Um, your overall like if you're planning out your composition, you can get, you know, what you're planning on doing drawn out first so that you know exactly like what you're hoping to do. And then you would essentially lower the opacity of the layer that has your basic rough sketch on it. Use a smaller size brush, you just shrink down the size of it, and you go back in and you refine those edges so you get a nice clean sketch. That's fine. Um, and then after you've got your base sketch, what I like to do, um, because when you paint digitally, one of the main reasons you do it, aside from the fact that it doesn't make a mess, is layers. So the ability to move layers around and have like the refined sketch on top of like a rough painting layer. This is how I like to do it. Um, if I come in and I add in my color here, you can see that the lines are still visible. And what I'll do is this is just a weird random mass of shapes, by the way. I'm not actually painting anything. What I'll do is after I've got my rough painting colors in, I do another painting layer on top of the sketch to hide the lines and give a more natural look. Because going back to oop, this one. And down here. I should have just opened up a new document. You see how these pencil layers are still on my screen with like where branches and berries and stuff are supposed to be? I can turn that off. And now I'm left with, you know, whatever I have painted. I keep it on when I'm still putting in that rough paint layer. And then I'll even keep it on when I want to paint over the top of it. But the idea is that this is kind of like it's like the training wheels of the painting. Once the painting is at a more completed stage, I don't need those lines anymore. I don't need the training wheels. So I can just turn them invisible. I don't like to get rid of them because it's fun to see like where I came from. Um, and it's good to show like process. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. They are guidelines. They're literally guidelines to show me where I need to paint. Um, but for instance, like coming in here, you can still see some of these edges and stuff from the thick sketch. But I want to make sure that when I'm coming in, um, like there's these dark lines here. I don't want to need these eventually. And so you'll notice the change here that happens in the face when I turn that layer off. So this is still needing more correction. I need to make sure that when I'm painting in, and I might even just turn it off to do that sometimes. It depends on where the lines are and how constructive they are to the shape. If they're so dark, like here, I'm not going to be able to tell if I use a dark color to mask over it where I have painted and where I haven't. Just to give you kind of an example here, because I don't want to be super, super dark. Oil paint. So, like if I come in and I start painting over this, I can't really see where my strokes are until that layer's gone. Oop. It could also be because I painted on a lower layer. That's my bad. Okay, now we come in. Alright, so this is what I'm trying to say. So, you take off that layer. Now I can see where it is. But because I have most of the shapes already defined around here in the first place, I don't need to trace over that line. I could just, use the other shapes around it and make that determination myself. And I could always turn that layer back on to compare and see what am I missing, what am I losing by turning that layer off, and try to make sure that I fix that. So it's just a little bit of a dark edging in here. And just because you have that sketch line doesn't mean you have to stick with it. It doesn't mean that it's like perfect. So if you decide when you're painting and you don't have the lines on anymore, like, hey, I like it better like this, then there's no need to trace over it just because you've already done it. And then something to watch out for is the sharpness of lines. So let me see. If you use like a blender, the blender is good because it mushes the paint around, but sometimes if you blend a little too much, it wipes it all away. So if I just go gently, I can kind of ease off on those transitions so it looks a little less cartoony. And then anything that isn't working, I just go back over it. Yeah, so your pressure sensitivity, because you're using an Apple Pencil, also matters. For example, let me just make a new thing. For example, that's like a full hard press. That's full strength on the press. I'm going to make another line. And that's really lightly pressed. So your pressure changes how opaque the color is. It also changes potentially, depending on the brush, the size of the brush, like how wide it is. Notice I didn't make any adjustments to the size of the brush between these two strokes. I just used different pressure and I got a different line thickness. And then the way it tapers off on the end too, that's also a matter of me pressing lightly. I could get it even thinner if I wanted. If I go really, really light. So I would say if you're still getting used to um, painting digitally, try and go with like basic shapes, right? Practice drawing circles. How how big, how small, what does it look like when you press extra hard? Just really kind of build that muscle memory so that your brain doesn't have to think about how hard or how light you're pressing, and you can focus instead on, oh, I'm just going to make a little detail here. It's more of a reflex than a overthinking kind of moment. And then with those shapes, paint in them. So pick a brush inside of, well, are you using Clip Studio on your iPad, or are you using Procreate, or are you using like something else like Ibis Paint, or because that will matter. Adobe Fresco is another one. Ibis Paint. Um, I'm not as familiar with Ibis Paint. I know that it's somewhat limited. Um, I highly recommend Procreate. It's only like $10 and it's a permanent purchase, and it's like a full art program. It doesn't lack anywhere. Um, if you did something like Clip Studio Paint on the tablet, you'd have to pay for like a monthly subscription. I bought a one-time license for Clip Studio Paint on my PC years ago, so I'm still operating on version 1. I think they're up to version 3 now. Not Procreate, no. Procreate is a one-time purchase. They have two different things available. Um, there's Procreate, which is the art app, and then there's Procreate Dreams, which is an animation app. Um, make sure that if you're gonna do it, that you go with the regular one, the painting one. Let me save my progress on this. All right, hold on 1 second. I'll help you out. Do. Just gonna take a second to plug my iPad in. And this needs to go. We'll put it up there. That should be fine. Okay, and we'll minimize this. And do I have the iPad on here? Turn on. Move it up. Is it No, it's not that one. Is it this? Let me go back to this. Should let me. What is that? Not now. Where's the... It's not the camera, I don't think. Nope, that's not it. Open up Procreate. That's not it. Where is it? How do I do this? This should work. Maybe I need to plug it in a different spot. Like there. Ugh. What if I... What is that? iPad? Nope. Let me unplug this. Try again. Properties. Why isn't it working? I got it working the other day. What must I do? Settings. Display. That's not it. That's not it either. Alright, let me do a quick Google search so I don't keep losing time here. Screen sharing iPad to PC. I wonder if my PC is blocking it. That would be funny. Settings. Ooh. Devices. iPad. System. Display. Let me go back to OBS. What happened? Why can't I find OBS? Oh no. What did I do? Oh no. Well, something's messed up now. Alright, I am gonna hopefully not lose the OBS because it has suddenly stopped running. If I lose you, I'll be right back. I think we're still good. Okay, so let's do add and video capture device. Call it 3. No, it's not picking it up. Do. Maybe I need to turn my Bluetooth on for that. And then now try the mirror. It says it's connected. Try again. Well, I was gonna make it work and I can't make it work. I will have to get that fixed because I've done this before. It should be as easy as plugging it in and having it work. Anyway, Procreate is a one-time purchase, so sorry about that. I was trying to see if I could help show you some stuff. Well, it's getting late, but this is what we were able to do today. We'll continue working on it next time. Thanks for being here. Hope you have a great night, and I will catch you next time. Bye. Bye.